This happened a week ago. I'm Jake, 32, and usually work at a bookstore. Every year, I look forward to the carnival. It's packed with laughter, the smell of popcorn, and lights. It's always a nice break from my small-town life. I never imagined anything strange would happen. The first odd thing was at the fortune teller's tent. The tent was colorful, and I felt pulled inside. The air was thick, almost heavy. The fortune teller looked at me, her eyes sharp. She shuffled her tarot cards, and I felt uneasy. She told me there was a shadow that followed me. I laughed it off, but a chill ran down my spine. The next night, I stood in line for the Ferris wheel. Suddenly, the ride jerked to a stop. My heart raced. I felt all eyes on me, and the laughter turned into whispers. I looked around, but couldn't catch what they were saying. It unsettled me, but I tried to brush it off. Maybe I was imagining it. Later, I noticed a clown. At first, he was smiling, his big red nose bright and cheerful. When I looked again, he wore a frown. Then he was grinning again. This happened every time I passed him, like he was playing a game with me. I tried to avoid him, but felt I was being followed. The clown seemed to follow me to the game booths. I walked faster. The carnival felt heavy, like a weight pressing down on my chest. A whisper brushed my ear. "You shouldn't have come." I whipped around, but there was nobody. My pulse quickened. Was it all in my head? I aimed to leave early, but my thoughts spiraled. The next day, I went back to my bookstore. Those strange incidents replayed in my mind like a bad movie. Every time I closed my eyes, the clown's grin filled my thoughts. Days passed, but the feeling wouldn't fade. I found myself walking past the fortune teller's tent, hoping for answers. Something about it felt different now. I kept feeling like something was behind me. Just yesterday, I discovered a flyer for the carnival on my doorstep. It was strange to find it there. I stood staring at it, remembering everything that happened. For a moment, I thought I saw the clown's face in the corner of my eye. It sent shivers down my spine. I spun around, and there he was, smiling that unsettling smile. It wasn't friendly. What does he want? My heart raced with confusion and fear. I didn't know what to think. The carnival was over, so why did it feel like it never left? I didn't sleep much that night. My mind was a whirlwind of questions. Why was the clown still here? What did he want? I decided to dig deeper. I needed to know if this was just my imagination or something more sinister. The next day, I returned to the carnival grounds. Everything was stripped away, leaving empty booths and wilted decorations. The laughter was gone, so was the smell of popcorn. It felt abandoned, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. I walked towards the fortune teller's tent, the only thing still standing. The air felt even thicker than before. I hesitated at the entrance. Maybe she could give me some answers. I pushed through the fabric, and a bell jingled above my head. It felt eerie, like a sign that I shouldn't be there. Inside, nothing had changed. The same velvet drapes and the small table with the crystal ball awaited me. I looked around but saw no sign of the fortune teller. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing in the stillness. I waited but received no response. Frustrated, I turned to leave when I noticed a small drawer in the table. It was slightly open, tempting me to look inside. I pulled it open and found a stack of cards. They were not tarot, but something else. Each card had images that made my skin crawl. Dark figures and twisted faces. I flipped one over and froze. The clown's face stared back at me. Panic rose within. What did this mean? I quickly placed the card back and stepped away from the table. I didn't want to be there anymore. Then I heard it. Laughter. It was distant at first, but grew louder. I was frozen in place. The sound came from outside. I cautiously made my way to the tent entrance. As I stepped out, the laughter turned into a commotion. I felt compelled to investigate, even though every instinct told me to run. The crowd, if you could call it that, was gathered at the old carousel. I slowly walked over, and my gut sank. I had never seen a crowd like this. They were not joyful, but silent, staring at something I couldn't see. My eyes locked onto the clown. He was there, standing at the center of the carousel, smiling wider than I'd ever seen. As I edged closer, I realized the others weren't just watching. They were mesmerized by him. It was like they were entranced. Then, without warning, he turned his gaze toward me. That smile faltered for a second, replaced with an expression that sent ice down my spine. I felt a pull, an overwhelming urge to join them. "No!" I shouted, shaking my head to break the spell. I stumbled backward, finding myself just out of reach. They remained glued to their spots, oblivious to my struggle. Then the lights flickered and went dark. The laughter stopped. I was alone in the darkness, but I could still feel his presence. Suddenly, I heard a whisper right beside me, chilling and clear. "You shouldn't have come back." That was it. I knew I had to leave. Desperate to escape, I turned to run, but my heart sank as I heard footsteps behind me. Heavy and measured, they were getting closer. I didn't want to look back. I just wanted to get out. As I raced towards the exit, it hit me. The clown wasn't just part of the carnival. He felt like a curse, one that wouldn't let me go. What had I unleashed? Chapter 2: Aftershocks. I burst through the carnival gates and collapsed onto the grass, gasping for air. My heart raced. I didn't know where to go or what to do next. I couldn't shake the clown's laughter from my ears. It echoed in my mind, mixing with my panic. What was that? I panted to myself. I stood up to get my bearings, scanning the area to see if the clown had followed me. The scene around me felt grim. The sun tried to break through the clouds, but everything seemed muted. I had to find someone who could help me understand this nightmare. I remembered a friend, Jake. He always had a knack for unraveling mysteries. I rushed to his house, praying he would be home. My mind clouded with the image of that clown, his menacing smile, and the way he had mesmerized the crowd. I needed answers. When I reached Jake's front door, I knocked hard. After what felt like an eternity, he finally answered. "Hey, what's wrong?" He looked concerned as I stumbled over my words, breathless. "Jake, I need to tell you about the carnival. There's something really wrong." "Slow down," he interrupted. "You look like you've seen a ghost. Just come with me, please." I grabbed his arm and dragged him back towards the carnival. Though he hesitated, he finally relented. When we arrived, the atmosphere shifted. I could sense the tension in the air. The flickering lights of the now dark carnival felt more foreboding than ever. "You did say things felt weird," Jake said, glancing around, "but I thought you were exaggerating." "It's worse than I imagined. The clown, he's not just a performer, he's something else." We walked toward the fortune teller's tent. I didn't know why I felt drawn back to it, but it seemed like the only way to find answers. I hesitated at the entrance again. Jake looked at me, urging me to make a move. I pushed through and we stepped inside. The atmosphere was just as I'd left it. The velvet drapes hung heavy and the air felt charged with electricity. Then something caught my eye. In the corner, scattered on the ground, were several of those disturbing cards I had seen earlier. I bent down to pick one up, my hands shaking. As I turned it over, it felt as if the air thickened around us. "Is that—" Jake leaned in, squinting at the picture. "That's the clown, isn't it?" "Yes, but look at this." I pointed to the dark figures lurking in the background of the card. Figures that hadn't been there before. They were faint, almost transparent, but they seemed alive. "What does it mean?" Jake asked, unease creeping into his voice. I swallowed hard. "I don't, but I think they're connected to him somehow." Just then, the tent flaps began to flutter violently, as if caught in an unseen wind. Jake and I exchanged worried glances. I could feel a presence building, something that wanted to break through. "Let's get out of here," Jake said. But as we moved towards the exit, the whispers grew louder. It was a chorus of voices, overlapping and chanting, drowning out our thoughts. Panic surged in me again. "We have to leave now!" But as we stepped outside, we stopped dead in our tracks. In front of us stood the clown, his smile wide and eyes glinting in the fading light. Behind him, the crowd was reassembling, the entranced faces returning. Everything in me screamed to run, but I was rooted to the spot, caught in the darkness of those twisted faces. The clown leaned closer, his shadow looming larger. "You came back," he said, his voice smooth and taunting. "Now it's your turn to play." I felt cold dread washing over me. That's when I realized this was just the beginning. Chapter 3: Unsettling Incidents. I didn't want to believe it, but there he was, the clown. His presence loomed over us like a thick fog, squeezing the air from my lungs. "What do you want from us?" I managed to stammer, my voice barely above a whisper. "Want? Oh, this isn't about what I want," he replied, grinning wider, his teeth glistening like knives. "It's about what you desire, to learn the truth, to play a game." Jake's grip tightened on my arm. I could feel his fear blending with mine, swirling into a chaotic mix. "A game?" he echoed, looking back at me. "What does that even mean?" The clown laughed, a sound that made my skin crawl. "You'll find out soon enough. But first, you must choose." "Choose what?" I shot back, my fear morphing into defiance. "Choose which path you want to take. Each choice will lead you to a different truth." He gestured around him, and suddenly, the carnival sprang to life. Laughter and music erupted, a contrast to the deep pit forming in my stomach. I noticed 3 attractions glowing in the distance, each exuding a different hue. A haunted house flickering with eerie green lights, a twisted funhouse pulsing with a sickly yellow glow, and an old carousel, its painted horses moving silently in the deep red dusk. "Choose wisely, or you may never leave," the clown taunted, taking a step back and letting the carnival envelop us. I looked at Jake, panic and confusion mixing in his eyes. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice shaking. "We have to decide. We can't stay here." The whispered promises of the attractions beckoned us, their allure wrapping around me like a vine. "I think we should go to the haunted house." Jake shook his head. "I don't like the sound of that. What if that's where the worst things are?" Wasn't sure. My instincts screamed at me to flee, but the pull of the carnival was strong. If we don't choose, we might get trapped here. We have to take a chance. Before we could argue further, the clown clapped his hands and the thrumming carnival sounds tightened. "Time's up! Which will it be, my dear players?" With urgency clawing at my throat, I pointed toward the haunted house. That one! I couldn't explain it, but I felt drawn to that dark entrance. "Well then." The clown clapped again, and for an instant the chaos softened. "Have fun?" As we stepped toward the haunted house, the air grew heavy and thick. The entrance loomed above us, a dark maw ready to swallow us whole. It felt almost alive. My heart raced as I turned to give Jake one last reassuring smile. Inside, shadows shifted against the walls, darting and flickering, creating a display of confusion. I hesitated as the door creaked shut behind us. The atmosphere shifted. "Is anyone here?" Jake called out, unease in his voice. The only response was a low, distant whimper. I barely caught it at first, but it echoed through the space, sending chills down my spine. "Did you hear that?" I breathed out. Before Jake could respond, the floor beneath us groaned, and from the corners of the room, shadows began to emerge, taking on familiar shapes. The dark figures from the fortune teller's card. I took a step back, my chest tightening. "Jake, we need to go." But before we could turn, the figures advanced, their hollow eyes fixed on us. That's when everything went dark. Chapter 4: Echoes of the Past. I felt a cold rush sweep over me as darkness settled in. The air was thick, and I struggled to comprehend where I was. My heart raced louder than ever. I could barely distinguish the shapes moving around us. With a sharp gasp, I blinked into the darkness. No longer in the crowded haunted house, I stood on an empty street at night, fog swirling around me. "Jake?" I called out, panic rising in my throat. "I'm here," he shouted back, his voice trembling. Relief flooded me momentarily, but it was quickly overshadowed by concern. The fog cleared just enough to reveal Jake standing a few feet away. His face was pale, fear etched into his features. What just happened? I don't know. I turned to look around. The street felt familiar, but I couldn't place it. It looked like an old carnival ground, yet eerily abandoned and gray. A faint flickering light caught my eye, pulling at my curiosity. "Maybe we should follow it," I suggested, despite knowing it was probably a bad idea. At this point, our choices seemed limited. "We have to find a way out," Jake replied, his tone firm but shaky. As we moved forward, I felt a prickling at the back of my neck.
Shadows flitted across the edges of my vision, but I couldn't focus on them. The light grew brighter, guiding us deeper into the desolate fairground. We arrived at what seemed to be an old ticket booth. The windows were cracked, and the structure looked ready to collapse. The light was coming from a small lantern perched at the booth's edge. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. "Do you think anyone's here?" Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "No idea," I replied, peeking inside. As I leaned in, the flickering light cast shadows that transformed the inside into a distorted funhouse. The walls were covered with old carnival posters, all advertising attractions I'd never seen. Then I noticed something, a flicker of movement behind one of the posters. My pulse quickened as I reached to follow it. The second my fingers brushed against the faded paper, it ripped, revealing a small door hidden behind the booth. "Look!" I said, excitement bubbling up despite my fear. "It's a way in." "Or a way further in," Jake countered, visibly wary but intrigued. Ignoring his caution, I pushed the door open. It creaked loudly, making me wince. Inside was a narrow hallway, its walls lined with more posters, many depicting ghastly images of clowns and attractions gone wrong. The air was musty, thick with the scent of decay. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed behind us. I jumped, turning. The ticket booth door slammed shut, trapping us in the hallway. The darkness felt more alive now, pulsating around us as I felt the chilling presence from before. "What do we do?" Jake gasped, eyes wide. "I guess we go forward?" I suggested, and we ventured deeper into the corridor. That's when I heard the whispers, soft and distant, yet insistent. They clawed at my mind, faint voices calling my name. I shook my head, trying to clear the feeling of dread. I didn't want to believe what I sensed, that we weren't completely alone. Just then, I turned to say something to Jake, but he had gone still, staring ahead. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice nearly a whisper. I nodded, my stomach twisting. Whatever was down here was getting closer. I found myself scanning the shadows. "Where are you?" I whispered into the gloom, panic rising. Then the whispers grew louder, more distinct, growing into an unsettling chant. "Come play with us." And that's when I saw them. Figures emerging from the dark, their faces twisted in laughter that echoed through the corridor. "Join us," they beckoned. A chill raced down my spine. We had to move, fast. Chapter 5. The Grinning Shadows. We turned to run, adrenaline propelling us forward. But the corridor twisted and turned like a maze designed to trap us. The laughter behind us grew louder, a cacophony of voices taunting us, urging us to stop. "What are they?" Jake panted, almost tripping over his own feet. I didn't have an answer.
All I knew was that those things weren't friendly. Ahead, the hall widened into a dimly lit room filled with broken carnival rides. The Ferris wheel loomed overhead, its metal skeleton rusted and decrepit. I felt drawn to it, an odd mix of terror and curiosity. "What if we hide?" Jake suggested, looking desperately around for a place to conceal ourselves. "No," I said, shaking my head. "We need to keep moving. We can't stay in one place." The shrieks and giggles echoed in the background, reminding me of the urgency we faced. We dashed to the left, seeking refuge behind an old clown car, its paint chipped and peeling. I caught my breath, clutching the edge of the car, trying to silence the thundering pit in my chest. "Did you see their faces?" Jake's eyes were wide with disbelief. Forget their faces," I interrupted, but barely kept the tremor out of my voice. "We need a way out." Suddenly, Jake pointed. A flickering exit sign hung above a door at the other end of the room. "There!" he shouted. We didn't hesitate. We sprinted toward the door, skimming past dilapidated rides and remnants of forgotten joy. I risked a glance over my shoulder. The figures were closer now, their distorted forms slinking like shadows in the corners of my vision. My heart sank. They were gaining on us. Just as we reached the door, a piercing wail filled the air, slicing through the sounds of laughter. I hesitated, eyes landing on a faded sign next to the door that read, "Exit, keep your hands inside." I shoved the door open. It swung with a groan, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling upward. "We have to go," I urged. We climbed quickly, muscles burning with effort. The laughter faded, replaced by the sound of our heavy breathing. It felt like we could finally escape this nightmare. But then, half a flight up, I stumbled. The stairs felt unstable beneath my feet. Jake grabbed my arm to steady me, but as I looked down, I realized the stairs were shifting, like they were alive. "We can't stop," Jake shouted, panic in his voice. I nodded, and we forced ourselves to keep moving, hand over hand. But the stairs twisted into a vortex. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if something was dragging us back. My breath quickened again. "Keep going," I shouted, suppressing my fear, knowing we had to make it. Finally, we reached a door at the top. I flung it open, praying for daylight, but was met instead with an open-air platform surrounded by darkness. A breeze whipped through, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of popcorn and cotton candy. "Where are we?" Jake asked, scanning the horizon of darkness that stretched before us. "Not far from where we started," I said, heart sinking. This felt like another part of the carnival. Everything looked so familiar, yet unnaturally wrong. Then I felt it again, that prickle at the back of my neck. I turned slowly, eyes narrowing. At the edge of the platform, several figures stood with grinning faces, illuminated by a pale light that flickered ominously. "Welcome back!" they cheered in unison, their voices echoing hauntingly. My heart raced. We hadn't escaped. The carnival wasn't over. "What do you want from us?" I demanded, but the shadows only laughed, a sound that sent chills down my spine. That's when one of them stepped forward, reaching into the fabric of the darkness, pulling something out. My breath caught in my throat. A ticket. My ticket. Chapter 6. Reclaimed Ticket. The figure held the ticket aloft, and it glimmered strangely in the faint light. My mouth felt dry, words stuck in my throat. Every instinct screamed for me to run, but I was frozen in place, eyes locked on the ticket. My ticket. What does it mean? Jake breathed beside me, his voice trembling. I edged forward, captivated by the way the ticket shimmered. It was the same one I had dropped when we first entered this warped realm. I don't know, I managed, trying to keep my voice steady. But I think it's important. One of the grinning figures stepped closer, a grin spreading wider on its elongated face. To join the show, you must play, it said, voice dripping with malice. Play? I echoed, glancing at Jake, who looked ready to bolt. What kind of game? The laughter from the others grew louder, filling the air like a dark melody. The figure held the ticket closer, beckoning with a long, bony finger. You will see, you will see. The fun has just begun, it taunted. Suddenly, everything shifted. The ground trembled beneath us, and the platform dissolved into swirling fog, pulling Jake and me apart. I reached out for him, but the darkness enveloped him, leaving me alone with the figure. "Jake!" I screamed, but my voice was lost in the cacophony around me. My heart raced. Where had he gone? "Don't worry," he said, its voice playful yet chilling. I stumbled back, a wave of dread crashing over me. "Let him go!" I shouted, panic rising in my throat. The figure merely laughed again, the sound chilling. "Only one of you can win the game, and to win, you must embrace the ticket." Without warning, I felt the tug of the ticket I had dropped earlier. It pulled me toward the edge of a void that appeared before me. Tattered memories of the carnival flashed, good times mixed with fear. I shook my head. I won't play your game." I backed up, heart pounding. But as I turned, the laughter intensified and morphed into a chorus of pained screams. I suddenly felt like I was being watched by unseen eyes in every shadow, waiting for me to submit. "Join in, or be lost forever!" the figure cackled, extending the ticket toward me. The choice felt almost suffocating. I could feel my own trembling hands reaching out as if possessed. Then, as if the air had been sucked from my lungs, a series of images flashed before me. I saw Jake, his eyes wide with fear, corners of his lips pressed into a grim line. An unsettling scene unfolded where he was trapped in a maze of mirrors, images of distorted clowns reflecting back at him. "Jake!" I shouted, fear coursing through me. I couldn't let him face this alone. With newfound resolve, I took a step back toward the figure. "Enough! I won't let you take him!" "Then make a choice," it hissed, the ticket hovering just out of reach. Just as I prepared to grab it, the scene shifted again. Everything went dark, like someone had switched off the lights. The laughter morphed into chaotic whispers, rustling like leaves in a storm. Suddenly, I felt something cold grip my ankle. I stumbled back, terrified. But that's when I realized my senses sharpened. The whispers were telling me something. They hinted at a way out, a way to save Jake and break this curse. Before I could act, the darkness shifted again, reshaping into a spiral. Time seemed to stand still, and the world around me folded into itself. "Choose," the figure echoed, now a distant memory. "Choose wisely." Then everything went dark again. I braced myself, knowing that my next move was crucial. Chapter 7: Echoes of the Ticket. It felt like I'd been holding my breath for hours, but as the darkness faded, I found myself standing in a different part of the carnival. I blinked, trying to make sense of my surroundings. The colors were vibrant but twisted, bright reds and yellows mixed with shadows that danced and flickered, almost alive. "Jake?" I called, my voice echoing through the silence. Panic gnawed at my insides. I had to find him. As I walked forward, the eerie quiet was broken by the distant sound of laughter. It was muffled, as if coming from behind a thick wall. My heart jumped. It had to be Jake. The distorted laughter raised my anxiety, but I pressed on. Turning a corner, I stumbled upon a cracked mirror. The reflection didn't just show me, it showed Jake, trapped in that maze I had seen earlier. He was running, darting between mirrors, his face contorted in fear as distorted clowns tried to grab him. I gasped, "Jake!" But this was no ordinary mirror. As I reached out, my hand passed through the glass. A wave of icy air rushed over me, and the world behind the mirror began to ripple like water disturbed by a stone. "Help me!" Jake's voice broke through, full of desperation. "I'm coming!" I shouted, feeling an overwhelming urge to pull him out. But fear shot through me as I considered the potential danger. What if I reach in and got trapped too? Before I could decide, the reflections shifted. A carousel materialized beside me, its painted horses circling with a haunting rhythm. An unsettling nostalgia washed over me, a sense that I had seen this carousel before, back when everything felt normal. "Choose." The figure's words floated back into my mind. I thought of the ticket. Whatever it meant, it might be the key to saving both of us. Just then, a patch of darkness coalesced beside the carousel. A small figure emerged, shrouded in shadows. I squinted, straining to see who it was. "Join us," it hissed, voice low and echoing. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Who are you?" "Just a friend," it whispered, stepping closer. "I can help you find him." Unease gnawed at me. Was it another trick? "What do you want?" "To play a game, of course. A trade. One ticket for another." The figure gestured to the carousel. "His freedom for yours." My mind raced. I couldn't trust it, but I had to act fast. "What do you mean?" "Simply step onto the carousel, and the ticket will be yours. He's waiting." The urgency in its voice sent a shiver down my back. I thought of Jake, trapped and afraid. What if he didn't have much time left? My instinct screamed at me to take that risk, but doubt lingered. Then, the carousel's eerie music twisted and echoed in my ears, growing louder. I could almost hear Jake's voice, fighting to be free. I had to make a choice. Just as I steeled my resolve to leap onto the carousel, something caught my eye. The ground cracked beneath my feet, and the laughter intensified, morphing into a cacophony of shrieks. That's when I understood the truth. The laughter wasn't just a backdrop, it was a warning. I hesitated, caught between worlds. Are you really here to help? In the moment of doubt, the figure sneered, shadows stretching unnaturally. Make your choice, or lose everything. I felt the ground slip, the warmth of the carnival fading into chilling darkness. I had to act now, before it was too late. Chapter 8: The Choice. I was hit with a wash of panic. The ground cracked further, the darkness creeping closer. I needed to act,
But how could I trust that shadowy figure? With a deep breath, I narrowed my focus on the carousel. It seemed innocent enough at first glance. The horses spun gracefully, their painted eyes watching me with an unsettling intensity. I glanced back at the mirror. Jake was still there, holding on to hope. Time was running out. I called out to him again. "Jake, I'm trying to help you." My voice felt fragile, swallowed by the surrounding noise. The figure smirked, darkness swirling around it. "You have one chance. Will you take it or let him fade?" I couldn't let that happen. I took a step toward the carousel. It was now or never, I thought. I wouldn't let fear dictate my choices anymore. But the moment my foot touched the carousel, everything shifted. The music surged, loud and piercing. I stumbled, clutching a horse for balance. My other hand instinctively reached into my pocket, feeling the ticket's weight. "Where is it?" I gasped, eyes darting around. "Where's Jake?" The figure laughed, a sound full of malice. "Remember, dear friend, all choices have consequences." It pointed towards the others in the mirrors. "Hello, Jake." That's when I saw him. In the reflection, his face twisted in confusion and anger. "What did you do?" he shouted, panic gripping his voice. "Nothing yet," I shot back. But the fear creeping into my voice told me that wasn't true. Without warning, I felt myself being pulled deeper into the carousel, the ground beneath me disappearing. I desperately grabbed the nearest horse, pulling myself onto it. My heart raced as I began to move, spinning round and round while the laughter grew louder. It felt like the horrid mirrors were watching me, mouths twisting in glee. "It's a game," the figure's voice taunted, echoing in the distance. "Every spin is a choice. Pick wisely." A voice broke through the laughter, Jake again. "Get out! Don't play their game!" But as I spun, my mind raced with possibilities. What if the ticket could save him? How could I trust that it would? With a burst of resolve, I focused on the ticket in my pocket. I felt its weight. "What do I do?" I shouted, still spinning with no control. "Use it," the figure hissed. "Claim your prize." Then, everything went still. The carousel halted abruptly. The shadows froze, holding their breath. I was surrounded by the mirrors again. Jake's face appeared, filled with worry. "Please," he called, "you can't trust it." I looked at the ticket, and an idea struck me. Maybe it could help us both. Instead of giving up, I had to fight. "Let me prove it," I shouted into the darkness, heart pounding. Then I felt something shift inside me. A surge of energy flowed through my body as a portal began to form amidst the mirrors. Vibrant colors swirled and flickered, illuminating the darkness. "Now!" I called to Jake, the urge to save him overwhelming. The portal grew larger, pulling us both towards it. But would we get through? "Help me!" Jake yelled, reaching for me. In an instant, I knew what I had to do. I took a step forward, ready for whatever came next. The shadows roared, but as I leapt, my heart raced with the thrill of uncertainty. Would this be the end or the beginning of our escape? Chapter 9: Shadows and Light. The moment I leapt into the swirling portal, the world exploded in color and sound. Light enveloped me, contrasting sharply with the darkness I had become so familiar with. My heart hammered in my chest as I felt the whirlpool of shadows clawing at my back, desperately trying to drag me down. I landed with a thud on solid ground, disoriented. My breath came in sharp gasps as I scanned my surroundings. It was the Carnival again, but this time it felt different, brighter, less oppressive. The lights twinkled overhead, and the laughter of children echoed sweetly. For a fleeting moment, I almost believed I was safe, but then doubt seeped in. "Jake?"
I shouted, adrenaline still pulsating through me. "Where are you?" A flicker of movement caught my eye. Turning, I saw a figure emerging from the shadows. I felt my heart sink when I recognized the sinister grin. It was the clown, dark against the vibrant backdrop. He stepped forward, his smile wide and knowing. "You think you've escaped?" "Let him go!" I shouted, defiance bubbling in my chest. "It's not your turn to demand anything, little player." The clown laughed, his voice intertwining with the joyous sounds of the carnival. The contrast sent a chill through me. The laughter felt wrong, almost mocking. "Where's Jake?" I pressed, holding my ground. I refused to back down, even in the face of his unsettling presence. "Ah, but he's chosen his path too," he replied, spinning in place as if mocking me with his movements. "You must understand, there are choices that lead to freedom, and choices that lead to despair." "Enough of your riddles," I snapped, moving forward. "What does he have to do with this?" Chuckling, the clown stepped out of the shadows completely. "He's just one of the many who wanted to play a game. Is it not fun to watch your friends struggle?" My heart sank into my stomach as a horrific realization dawned on me. I turned away from him, scanning the area in desperation. If Jake was somewhere here, I had to find him before it was too late. Then, I spotted an entrance to an old funhouse, its warped mirrors reflecting distorted images of the world outside. I felt a pull, an undeniable urge to enter. Maybe Jake was inside, lost among the reflections. The laughter faded to silence as I stepped over the threshold. I was immediately enveloped in darkness, with only the moonlight filtering in through cracks in the walls. I moved cautiously, stepping deeper in. Each mirror I passed gave glimpses of different reflections. Some were Jake, pleading eyes staring back, and others showed laughter, twisted into screams. "Jake?" I called softly, my voice trembling. "Over here!" a raspy voice echoed from the depths. Following the sound, I wove my way through the maze of mirrors. The disorienting reflections played tricks on my mind. Shadows danced just beyond my vision, whispering unintelligible words that stung like needles. Finally, I spotted Jake. He stood at a mirror that twisted his image into a grotesque version of himself, just a step behind glass. "Help me, please!" he yelled, his face contorted in panic. I rushed forward, my heart racing. "I'm here! I'm going to get you out!" I reached for his hand, fingers brushing against the glass. "Don't!" he shouted, desperation flooding his voice. "What do you mean?" I was confused, frozen in place. As dread pooled in my stomach. "Don't trust that clown. He's playing us both. There's a way out, but not through the mirrors. You have to break the connection," he strained, looking over his shoulder. I hesitated, suddenly filled with uncertainty. "But how?" Jake's eyes narrowed, determination cutting through the fear. "The ticket. It's the key to both of our freedom. Use it!" With a surge of resolve, I fished the ticket from my pocket, feeling its weight. The figures in the mirrors distorted, almost alive, thrumming with energy. Then, the clown's laughter echoed again, shattering the moment. "Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you." He leaned against the wall, his grin widening. "Once the ticket is used, there's no going back. You both will be trapped forever." "No, I won't let you take him," I shouted back defiantly. With no time to second-guess myself, I lunged at the mirror, cradling the ticket. I pressed it against the glass, willing it to work. Light exploded outward, shattering the reflection and sending shards scattering around us. The carnival twisted violently, colors bleeding until all I could see was darkness, bright lights flickering in the distance. Jake was pulled back just as the mirror shattered, and I felt the tug of something profound deep within me. I reached for him desperately, grabbing his outstretched hand as I shouted, "Hold on!" Then the world erupted into light. Everything fell silent for a heartbeat before I found myself back outside the carnival gates, sprawled on the grass. Jake was beside me, panting and wide-eyed, color slowly returning to his face. "What just happened?" he murmured, staring into the now quiet carnival beyond the gates. "I don't know," I admitted, looking back myself. The carnival seemed unnaturally still, the light fading away like a memory. The laughter was muted, echoes lost to the wind. "Do you think it's over?" Jake whispered, his gaze unwavering. I leaned back on my hands, the last remnants of anxiety fading. I hope so. But deep down, as we sat there together, I couldn't shake the lingering feeling that somehow we hadn't seen the last of the clown, or the shadows that had danced behind the mirrors. As the sun set, casting long shadows, I found myself staring at the faded carnival grounds, uncertainty churning within me. Perhaps this wasn't the conclusion, but merely another chapter in a story that might never end.